Good morning. Today I will be presenting about fishing fish and baits. And today I'd like to inform you guys on the types of fishing, fish and baits that are available to us as fishermen and the overall general population. So to begin, for you guys that don't know what fishing is, fishing, also called angling, is a sport of catching fish, freshwater or saltwater, typically with rod, line, and a hook. Like hunting, fishing originated as a means of providing food for survival and has now evolved into a sport and means for fun as a hobby and also has been commercialized. So to begin, before you can start fishing, important thing to note is that you need to hold a fishing license that you can get from any sporting goods place or a Walmart, and it is required by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And the price of the fishing license is only like $48.34 to be exact. So there are three types of fishing that we'll discuss today. I will be doing inshore fishing, which involves fishing from sand, and then we'll also be talking about fishing offshore, which involves fishing from a boat or a kayak, as well as fishing from a stocked lake. So to begin, for stocked lakes, we have our local lakes, Santa Ana River Lakes, Dixon Lake, or one right here, the Yorba Linda Regional Park, that holds 3 different bodies of water, of lakes. And in those lakes, you'll find 3 common fishes, one being the rainbow trout to your guys' left, another one being a smallmouth or largemouth bass to your guys' right, and to the bottom, we have a catfish. So for the rainbow trout, the technique to catch that fish is they're very sensitive fishes. So unlike the bass that you see to your guys' right, which is a more aggressive fish, the technique for the bass is more aggressive. So it's different types of fishing. And then the one to the bottom is a catfish. They're more of a lazy fish and they'll eat anything they see. So for the baits, for the rainbow trout, a very great bait to catch that fish is a mice tail that you see to your left with the pink little rounded head. Another bait to use for the bass will be a hard plastic lure that you see right here, and that is a small rainbow trout, which makes sense because in the same bodies of water there is a rainbow trout, and the bass are more likely to eat that type of fish. And also bass really like frogs, so another common lure that is great to catch a bass will be using a plastic lure which would resemble a frog. And then for the catfish, a very good bait to use for the catfish will be chicken liver, because they do smell like very bad. So when you have them in the water, it releases the aroma of the chicken liver as well as the blood, and that's what the catfish use to trace that bait. And another type of fishing will be the inshore fishing, which you can do. My favorite spot will be Newport Beach, and you just fish the whole coastline on the sand, and you just cast your rod into the water. So for the most common types of fishes you will catch in inshore fishing will be a halibut that you see to your guys' left. And a halibut is a really good fish, but they are very, 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 very hard to catch. But another common fish that's more easier to catch will be the surf perch that you see on top. The surf perch, they're also a good tasting fish and are easy to catch off inshore, as well as the yellowfin croaker that we see to your bottom right. So for those types of fishes, best bait to use for the surf perch and the croaker is the bait to your left, which is it's called a cameo sandworm, which is also a soft plastic lure. And then we also have the shrimp to your right, to the top right, which will catch all 3 of those types of fishes. Shrimp is a overall round fish bait to catch fish. And then to catch the halibut, we'll use a more hard plastic lure that you see to your bottom right. A very good hard plastic lure is a Lucky Crab Flash Minnow, because if you see compared to the other 2, they look more like a real fish and they mimic the movement of a real fish when you have it in the water. And then we also have the offshore fishing. So for offshore fishing, which is done off a boat or a kayak or a float tube, you will catch many various fishes, and it's also one of the most sport-like fishing that you can do. So for the offshore fishing, you'll catch one of the best tasting fishes you can catch, which to your left is a yellowfin tuna. Yellowfin tuna is one of the best and hardest fight fishes you can catch. Sorry. And then to your top right is a mahi-mahi, also known as a dolphin, which is a very pretty fish and also one of the best tasting fishes you can catch. And then to your bottom is the California rockfish, which is a good fish. They're mostly good fried or pan fried. So for those three types of fishes, the best type of bait to use for the yellowfin tuna is the top left, which is also a plastic lure, and it's a kind of looks like a squid, a little baby squid, because that's the most type of animals or fishes they eat out in the ocean. And then for the bottom left is it's a hard plastic jig head. So it's if you look at it, it's supposed to mimic a small sardine, which the mahi-mahi will normally eat. And then to your right is a blue runner. It's a live bait, and that live bait will catch all the types of fishes, as well as the California rockfish that was in the bottom. And the best bait to use if you want to do all-around fishing will be live bait all the time, because that's what fishes normally eat. And then here's a little short video on fishing. And that's a blue runner that I had showed you guys. So he does live bait.
Amazing. They're literally giant patches of sargasso. This area down in the Caribbean is considered their sargasso.
And what he's doing is offshore
where the
fishing.
sargassum grows.
So the one where you'll be in the boat
during
or a
turbulent,
kayak.
periods, it'll break off and float up to the surface, and it holds all kinds of.
And
like,
you'll be
shrimp,
catching the mahi-mahi,
fish,
also known as dolphin.
and it's its own floating ecosystem. Dude, the second it hit the water, I had a bite. I don't know what it is though. That's another dolphin. Look at this. Awesome fish. Come in the boat, buddy.
And that right there is the mahi-mahi that I had showed you guys. And he ate it off the blue runner. So with that being said, I hope today I informed you guys with some insight that will help you guys if you guys are to ever go fishing.
Jennifer, what did you think?
I felt, at least, first I'll talk about the rumors. I felt like he definitely felt like he knew what he was talking about. I don't know, in his tone of voice, he sounded confident, except for a few missteps just on words, but As for the preview, I don't think he quite had a preview, or at the time I didn't really think it was a preview. because he didn't really give a clear idea of how it was going to be structured. But I found out very quickly it was in the title, fishing, type of fishing, the fish found, and then the baits. And he would do that topically in each area. But there was kind of a thing where I wasn't really sure at the beginning. He just gave a definition, the license, and then he started talking about the types. He briefly went over them, which I thought was kind of odd. I felt like it would have worked better maybe if he had done it when he got to each one, rather than done it right then and there. And then because when he mentioned he left off with offshore and then he went back into inshore, that kind of thing. But I liked the video that I did lead in. He had showed us the Blue Runner and I went in, but I think it might have gone on long. I don't know. What's that?
Anything else?
I guess maybe he didn't really quote many sources, I guess.
All right.
That's also that. But
All right, well, let's take that as the start of my comments. There wasn't any source citation in the presentation. It sounds like this is all from experience, which is
Yeah.
not a bad thing, but you don't really tell us that it's even from experience. You just tell us things, and we're supposed to believe them. I don't know if that's based on what you did, if it's based on something that you read or research. You need to kind of give us a reason to believe the stuff that you're saying. Otherwise, it's just it just sits there, and it doesn't really engage us very much. I think there are problems with this from the start. First of all, we get, good morning, here's my topic, I'm going to give you an informative speech. This is like the antithesis of what we talked about doing as an attention device. The definition that you provided, maybe you could have used that as the attention device. That might have worked a little bit better. But there's nothing at the beginning that is intriguing about this, that pulls me in and tells me why I want to listen to this speech or why it's going to be important. If I don't ever plan on going fishing, why should I know about this? If I am going fishing, what am I going to get out of this in the long run? I do think you have an organizational structure, but it's a little bit confusing because basically it repeats on the same cycle every time you get to another fish. It's like, here's the type of fishing, here's the type of fish, here's the type of bait. Here's another type of fishing, if you're going after this fish, here's the type of fish, here's the bait. And it just sounds a little repetitive, and it's a long list of fish and places to fish and bait that we're looking at. And I think there needs to be structured in a way that makes a little bit more sense and makes it more interesting at least. Materials just starts running together. I appreciated what Jennifer said about the fishing license. It was like suddenly we're talking about the fishing license before I had any idea where we were going with this particular topic. And I think you need a preview when you are going to get into the speech that's a lot clearer than what we have here. Like I said, the pattern does exist. There is a pattern in the presentation, but it feels so redundant and repetitive, and it just comes up every time there's a new slide. And you've got a lot of slides in the presentation. That's another thing that I think is maybe a little problematic. I think if you organize this around the three types of fishing, then it would work better. You say, okay, let's talk about fishing from shore, and let's talk about why you would fish from shore, and what kind of fish you're likely to encounter when you're fishing from shore, and what kind of bait you want to use when you're fishing from shore for those particular kinds of fish, because that would make a little bit more sense. And then when you're fishing off of a boat, offshore fishing, and you're fishing on a boat, here's the kind of fish that you would be looking for in this particular case, and here's the sort of bait that works for them. The stuff talking about the bait and why fish are attracted to them or not attracted to them, that's interesting. That's the stuff that makes the speech a little bit more unique and useful to us. But it's like I said, it just gets to be a little bit more repetitive, and I think you need to kind of condense it down into something that is, instead of the same thing in 8 different places, you've got 3 places, and you're talking about the same thing, but there are variations within it. I think that would work better for you. All like I said, maybe too many slides. Presentation, well, you're standing sideways a lot of the time. That's a little bit awkward. Let me see here. Well, I think we've mentioned most of the things that are problematic. I like that you're talking about something that you know about. That's good. It would be nice if we got some stories about it to make it interesting. It just feels like it's a technical kind of review of, if I was going through I'm getting my license and there's a brochure that comes with it. Here are the 17 kinds of fish that you can get in California when you go fishing, and here are the bait that you can use for them, and here are the places that you can fish for them. Okay, well, why not just give me the brochure? You need to give me a reason to listen to this, and I think that it's missing that personality. There's a little bit of it there at the end when we get the video, because but you're kind of relying on the personality of the guy on the boat to get us involved in the presentation instead of your stories. All right, thank you.